Hello everyone, my name is Alexander Kazina, aka Kozibear, and I'd like to thank you for joining me this evening for another installment of Season 6 of Kozibear's Cooking. We are getting quite close to the end of this, but we still have this episode and yet another episode left. This is a limited run 6-episode show that you can watch live on both twitch.tv/KozibearLive and youtube.com/@KozibearLive every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time between September 25th and October 30th. And if you miss watching it live, don't you worry, you can view full-length VODs of all my past streams on both platforms, as well as clips from the show's best moments on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I actually posted just yesterday a semi-time-lapse clip of me assembling the Behemoth Burger from a few streams back. You can find me at Alex Kazina on the latter two platforms. That's at ALEXKOZINA. I have a great episode in store for you, so let's get this ball right and rolling. Tonight, you've seen it from the description as usual, we are going to be making Clam Chowder Poutine. This is my first time making poutine on this show. And the specific recipe that we are going to be going with to make our clam chowder poutine actually comes courtesy of Renee Paquette's cookbook, Messy in the Kitchen. You might remember me having consulted this cookbook a few times in the past. This is actually a cookbook that I've been using for a little while now on Kozibear's Cooking. This particular poutine that we're going to be making today, it's a bit of an aberration from your standard poutine recipe in that we will not be using what are they called? Cheese curds involved in here, because basically the whole clam chowder shebang that we're going to be making is basically fine enough as is. So let's see here. Oh, or maybe I was mistaken. Hold on a sec. Oh dear. I made myself, basically the way that this works is I make for myself a list of all the various ingredients that I need to make these dishes ahead of time. And I think I might have made a bit of a mistake, but that mistake being I think that I might have forgotten to get the cheese curds. Well, whoops. You know what? Hold on just a quick moment, and I'll be right back. Everything is being resolved. Everything is being taken care of. I was very caught off guard, let's say. Let me talk a little bit about the process by which Kozibear's cooking comes together. So basically, the idea is, in the past, whenever I would make any of these recipes, I would, just use the cookbook or use the recipe on my phone or whatever website to know what it is that I needed to make. And what I found over time, you can go back and watch prior streams, older seasons of Kozibear's cooking, is that basically that process would always be a little bit cumbersome. You'd open up the website and it would always, like, a million ads would load and it would be really kind of hard to scroll through it. The books are constantly closing, and so you'd have to reopen them. And so what I got in the habit of is making a note file on my phone of just the ingredients that I need for this particular recipe, and B, making a note file on my phone of basically the instructions of how to make whatever it is that I'm going to be making today in a very condensed and to the point format, so that I can just sort of very quickly at a glance see, okay, this is exactly what it is that I need to do to make this particular recipe. And what I've discovered is that occasionally, every now and then, there are little small mistakes in my transcription, and sometimes those small mistakes can be things like forgetting an entire essential ingredient, like the cheese curds in making this particular poutine. And what happened was, as I was assembling all the ingredients, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Now, in my own list that I've curated of all the ingredients I need for this particular stream, I didn't note down cheese curds. I guess it's because this particular recipe calls for me to not have to use cheese curds. And no, in fact, I just a moment ago consulted the recipe on my phone, and it's like, no, you got to use cheese curds. Cheese curds are an essential part of this recipe, which I agree with. If it doesn't involve cheese curds, it's definitely not poutine. But somehow, when I was transcribing the list of all the ingredients I needed for this particular stream, I forgot to write down the cheese curds on that, and so I forgot to pick them up. But never fear, someone in the Cozy household is on their way to pick them up. They won't arrive for a little bit, but they will arrive for the very end of the stream. The good thing is that the Clam Chowder Poutine that we're going to be making today, it's going to take a little while to prepare the various ingredients and components of it. So by the time that everything else is done, like, it'll have been quite a bit of time will have passed. So we will have ample time for our just incredibly grateful helper to pick up the cheese curds. All right, with that taken care of, with that out of the way, I want to return to Renee Paquette's cookbook, Messy in the Kitchen, just to read a little bit about the particular dish that we're going to be making today. Poutine is my country's dish, possibly the thing all Canadians can form an instant connection over. Well, poutine, Mike Myers, and strong beer. Poutine is what I would confidently refer to as a perfect dish. Traditionally, it's fries, cheese curds. It needs to be curds. How did I mess that up? How did I not include cheese curds in the recipe instructions? And a brown beef gravy. But I wanted to give this tried, tested, and true classic a seafood spin because I love all foods from the sea. You can give this East Coast chowder version a spin or go with the OG. I'm giving you both versions. We're going with the East Coast chowder version. Or you can just have clam chowder. Or you can just have fries. Whatever floats your poutine gravy boat. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure book for fries. Or a choose-your-own-adventure game. And she also has a little bit note here about the chowder. Keep in mind this recipe is made for the poutine, so I left out the baby potatoes because that's too many potatoes even for me. If you're just making the chowder, I'd add the potatoes, about 2 cups of halved baby potatoes. Add them in after all the liquid is simmering. Cook until soft, about 10 to 12 minutes. But we're not going to be worrying about that. Instead, we will begin in a most inauspicious place with our recipe. Step 1, we're going to start by washing a large, not small, but large russet potatoes. It's so incredibly annoying that tomatoes and potatoes sounding so incredibly similar to each other. And then we're going to be cutting them up into strips. So you've already seen our large russet potatoes over here. Let's go ahead and let's bring our top-down camera into view. I had to make some adjustments to the top-down camera after the last stream because I found that There were some issues and glitches. You might remember from that stream, there was a period where it was way out of sync with my video, and so I had to reduce the quality somewhat, but I also made some adjustments to bump up the quality back up. Should be better now. As you can see, I have all the russet potatoes over here, but they're real dirty boys. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put them all in this pot right over here. And we are going to give them a nice rinse at our sink camera. And here we go. I'm going to use the spray nozzle because it's more fun when you use this. Oh, I set the temperature a little bit too warm. We need colder water for this to work. Okay, now we're going to drain them a little bit. Whoops. I'm going to just do another bit of spritzing. Now, russet or white potatoes are both really good for if you want to make French fries. I actually had some white potatoes left over from a previous meal in this household, but not enough. And so I went and bought myself a bag of russet potatoes, and I can already tell that these bad boys are going to work just fine with what we're embarking on to make today. Real quick, I'm just going to go off stream just so that I can... I won't, like, dry the interior of the bowl, but I do want to dry the exterior of the bowl. Just so that... There we go. We can make things a little bit easier for ourselves. And I'm very grateful. I do want to say live on camera that I'm very grateful that the person that is helping me out today with getting the cheese curds was at home, because if they were not at home, this would have been a calamitous disaster of a stream. Probably what I would have done is I probably would have just been like, hey, stream is delayed by another 30 minutes while I go and run out and get cheese curds. Wouldn't have been the worst thing of all time, but I mean, would have definitely not been a great look. Okay, let's go. Let me just bring my instructions back up. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut these bad boys into strips. I noticed there's a lot of dirt actually where the russet potatoes previously were. I'm just going to real quick. Let me bring in the full top-down camera view. Very rare that we bring in the full view, but I want to do so just because I want to take a moment to clean up around here a little. There we go. Make our workspace a little bit more amenable. Okay. We'll bring half and half back in. What we're going to do is I'm just going to move a few things around. Oh, got to be careful. I don't want anything to spill over there. So that we can bring our cutting board in here so that we can cut up the potatoes. Here we go. This is a note for the future that I definitely need to start checking my own recipe lists a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Okay. Actually, you know what? It'll be easier, now that I think about it, it'll be easier if I can just work one by one with the potatoes. We're going to go ahead and we're going to zoom in with our top-down camera. And yeah, let's go ahead and let's cut this up. I'm not actually sure. I guess I can try. We'll figure out the best way to cut these bad boys up. I'm going to start from this angle, and we'll work from there. You can make your French fries super duper skinny if you want to, but I am going to be I'm going to try to make them maybe a little bit thicker than, say, the like thickness of French fries that you would get at a McDonald's, for example. Let's see. I'm going to need to, yeah, you need to just put them flat like that so you can cut them at this rate. And there we go. I think this is a, yeah, they're a little bit too, some of these are a little bit too thick. You know what I'm going to do? I'll put them on this plate over here, the ones that I think are acceptable. Yeah, I think might need to cut them a little bit. I think I'll need to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of how small I cut these things going forward. Now that I'm like actually cutting them up, I'm realizing, oh no, I actually want smaller fries, not bigger fries. Turns out those McDonald's people know what they're doing. Except when it comes to using convicted felons for publicity stunts, I suppose. Okay. Next up. No, let's go with this potato. Let's go with this potato. This potato has a more amenable shape to it. There we go. This is, I think, much closer to what we want to go for. I think this will be good. All right. We are making progress. I need to get a better knife, though. This knife, I mean, it doesn't help that these potatoes are a little bit slippery and it's a little bit hard to cut them. But the particular knife that I'm using definitely has seen better days. Yeah, I should ask for a new one for Christmas. Although it is something that benefits the whole household, so maybe I don't need to request it as a gift. Oh no! Oh no! You heard a very loud banging noise. It was the portable hood range falling to the floor. As you can see, part of it fell off. Now, can I reattach it? Let's find out. Yes, I can. But I am going to put this flat on the table this time instead of standing it up. Because I would not want another accident. Let's see here. There we go. Some good cuts, but again, I definitely need a better knife in the future. I'm tired of those bowls making so much noise. If I move them around, maybe they'll make less noise. Yeah, that's a little bit better. All right. Give me a second. I want to just listen to how things are sounding on the computer. Come on. There we go. All right. These are so slippery, but this is the most efficient way to cut them. Some of these are really thick, and I don't know why. I didn't try to cut them thick. Let's see, are there any here? No, most of them, I don't know why those two fries in particular were especially thick, but everything else seems okay. All right. Okay. All right, it's too hard to do all at once, as much as that is the more efficient option, so I'm just going to cut them like this. Yeah, this is definitely the better technique to figure this out. This is one of those situations where I actually would appreciate like a mandolin, for example. Yeah. All right. I mean, it's a little bit slower going, but I think that this is the better call rather than try to cut them all at once. Because us trying to cut them all at once is definitely leading to the irregularities in terms of their shapes. Okay. Okay. Let me just check something real quick. There we go. How are you all doing today? It's been very, very, very hot in Montreal as of recent, and it seems like that's true of a lot of other areas of Canada right now. It's great for me because I just recently got a new bike. My old bike, if you listen to Respawning Fire, just completely crashed and burned in a fiery explosion. It wasn't quite that dramatic, but it was very similar. And so we went on the market for a new bike, and we found one fairly discounted because it's the end of the season. And I think we assumed that I probably was not going to be able to use the bike very much because, you know, it's getting colder. But I have been able to because it's been as warm as it is. But the downside is, well, why is it as warm as it is? Probably because a little thing called climate change is doing a real number on our planet. All those trees out there just, you know, not sucking up enough CO2. I think we're all fucked. But at least I got to bike a little bit. Now this part of the potato didn't come out great, but I mean, hey, I will still use it in some capacity. By the way, if you've not noticed it yet, we actually have an air fryer over here. We're going to be using this air fryer to fry our French fries. And this air fryer, it's great, but it doesn't have the greatest capacity. Can't fit all the French fries in the world in it. So the idea is we will make enough French fries to make a poutine dish for ourselves. And then after that, I will, you know, air fry up more French fries so that everyone else can enjoy the same dish. That's the current plan. Okay. I will do one last inspection of these fries so that I can cut them up a little bit thinner at the very end if I feel like I need to do so. We have 3 potatoes left, although they're all kind of big chunkers, so we still have a little bit of work ahead of us. All right, there we go. Eventually, I think I'm going to probably have to start putting this stuff back in the bowl, actually. Go. There we go. There we go. Some of these are a little bit thin, but when we decide what fries we're going to fry up in the air fryer, we can exclude some of them as needed. Okay, I am going to... Oh, there's a little bit of water at the bottom of the bowl. I am going to... Let me go back to the sink. I'm just going to drain this excess water. Maybe do a little bit of extra cleaning as needed. And there we go. What's same thing? Okay. Here we go. Penultimate potato, just like how this is the penultimate episode of Kozibear's Cooking Season 6. Yeah, okay, this is where I have to start putting them back in the bowl. So, yeah, I'm just going to inspect these. These seem okay. Because if I put any more on this plate, they will most definitely start spilling over, and that would be really bad. Go. Oh, hey! Sharktopus Attack! Thank you for tuning in. Sharktopus says, Cozy, the East Coast would like to have a word with you regarding your actions. Oh, no. Oh, no. Sharktopus Attack, what did I do? What did I do? I genuinely don't know what this is in reference to. And also, the entire East Coast, so not just like not specifically Canada, not specifically America, but specifically the East Coast of Canada, America, and also, I'm guessing, Mexico? I mean, I'm very, very concerned. If that's the only, if Sharktopus Attacks, that's the only message from Sharktopus Attack in the chat, I'm going to be very concerned from the rest of the stream, so I hope he responds back with a little bit of insight into just what is going on. But man, what can I do to upset the entire East Coast? I don't really know. Is it... I mean, it has to be something involving the poutine, right? Or maybe it's the thickness or thinness with which I'm slicing the fries. I'm trying to think of regional food things that I could be doing. Sharktopus Attack says, New Yorkers are saying, hey, is there tomato in here? Huh. Is there tomato in here? I mean, I don't really know. I can't help those New Yorkers that are complaining about there being tomatoes in here. What I'll say is, I've not actually used tomatoes or tomato-based products on my streams in quite some time. The last time I used them was when I last made a pizza on these streams that used tomato sauce. Hold on, let me just turn that off real quick. Yeah, outside of that, like, I'm not a particularly tomato-intensive streamer. I like tomatoes fine. They're plenty tasty. I think there's a lot of, like, small baby tomato. Ugh, oh, dear. I think that some tomato dishes are fine. But I've not featured any tomatoes on my streams as of late, and there are definitely no tomatoes on this particular stream. There are potatoes, which sound very similar to tomatoes, but no tomatoes to be seen anywhere. Uh-oh. I don't think I was cutting this thing correctly. We'll cut this like this. There we go. So at least it's a straight line. And then I'll cut off a little bit at the end like that. And then a little thing like that. And yeah, I don't... Cozy, do you not know about the difference in American clam chowders? Oh no, is this a clam chowder thing? I am not... Well, let me... You know what? Give me a moment. Where is it? Here we go. I'm just going to read to you the original recipe that I'm consulting today. Today I'm making a clam chowder poutine. And these are the ingredients required to make the clam chowder. This is written by Renee Paquette in her cookbook, Messy in the Kitchen, My Guide to Eating Delicious Food. These are the ingredients. Bacon, a cup of onions, 2 cloves of garlic, a tablespoon of unsalted butter, 1/3 a cup of flour, half a cup of dry white wine, 1 cup of milk, 2 cups of chicken stock, 1 cup of half and half, 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme, although we're going to be using dried thyme, 2 bay leaves, we're going to be using dried bay leaves, 3 cans of chopped clams, plus their juice, although we're going to be using baby clams. Again, these are all just small changes I'm making to accommodate for what I have at home. 2 green onion stalks, 1/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, and 1/3 of a cup of water. Those are the ingredients that we're using today to make our clam chowder. So if the clam chowder I'm making today is supposed to have tomatoes in it, I mean, that's not my fault. That is, you can take that up with Wrestling's Renee Paquette, who put out this cookbook a couple of years ago, in which I have consulted on occasion because she is Canadian like I am, and occasionally I want to refer to her expertise on how to make great recipes. I just remembered, actually, one of the last recipes that I consulted her cookbook on was I made those chip crusted pork chops last season. The original chip crusted pork chop, the all dressed Ruffles crusted pork chop, that came from this cookbook, actually, and that was great. So I have a lot of faith in her, and if she says we don't put tomatoes in our clam chowder, then I don't really know what to say. Here's the thing, I'm an adventurous sort of person. I have no issue with the idea of a tomato-based clam chowder. If you put a tomato-based clam chowder in front of me, I will gladly and graciously try it. I'm not gonna tut my nose up at it. But this particular recipe, nary a tomato is to be seen. All right, Sharktopus Attack responds and said, so, this is a little more New England clam chowder. For some reason, the heathens in New York, Manhattan, prefer putting tomato in their clam-based liquid food. Huh. I don't really know what to make of that. That is weird. I mean, like I said, I'll try all the clam chowders that people put in front of me. For me, like, growing up, from experience, like, white clam chowder without any tomato is clam chowder to me. That is, like, the traditional, quintessential Kozibear growing up clam chowder experience. But again, I don't have an issue trying the tomato-based clam chowder. It feels, I don't know, something about it just seems a little bit off to me just because of the acidity of the tomatoes. But I mean, I would not be surprised if it actually is, like, kind of decent. I'm gonna cut up a couple of these ones a little bit more because they seemed a little bit too thick. There we go. This is, by the way, this is not my first time making poutine. I've made poutine on occasion a couple of times in the past. I remember I once made it when I was in San Diego, California, which was a bit challenging because, like, things like cheese curds, for example, are not exactly readily available in San Diego, California. But I was able to make it work all the same. But this is my first time making clam chowder. To my recollection, it's never really been something that I think I've ever been motivated to make in the past. I'm not, like, exactly the world's foremost seafood person to begin with, and so I think that was definitely a factor in it, even though I do like clam chowder. Sharktopus says, agreed, typically you're not going to have anything super acidic with mussels to begin with unless you're eating a delicious paella. Oh man, paella. I had a little bit of that in when I was in Barcelona, although it's not like I was eating it all the time. Anyways, thanks again for tuning in, by the way, Sharktopus. This is definitely an aspect of the clam chowder experience that I was not familiar with, and I'm glad that you were able to illuminate me on the matter. And there we go. I think, yeah, some of these are a little bit thicker than others. I might maybe cut those up a little bit. I'll cut up this too. Yeah, some of these early ones towards the bottom, we definitely got a little too lenient with how thick they could be. And so we're going to de-thicken them so that they will fry in a more even and better manner when we put them in the air fryer. There we go. Let's see. I'll just bring them over here. Okay, let's see. This guy over here, definitely too thick. I'll put those there. Put those there. Yeah, this guy, way too thick. How do I want to cut him, though? But if I cut him like this, that'll be good. This guy, too thick. That'll be good. There we go. Yeah, this is another thick boy. This one's fine. I think this one's fine. This one we can cut up a little bit. This one, there we go. This one I think is fine. These ones look a little bit weird. I'll cut them up. Why not? They're now probably a little bit too thin, but I think it's better than where they were at before. Okay. Sharktopus Attack says, I'm here to present knowledge that no one needed, but that everyone can use. I mean, hey, I definitely made use of that information very much. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and let's jump to the next step of our recipe today. Yes, we're only on step 2. We're going to place our potato strips in the large bowl that we previously used to carry them in. Fill the bowl with cold water, and then we're going to leave them to soak for a good hour. We're doing this so that we can get rid of all the extra starch from the potatoes so that they're nice and crispy when we fry them. So let's go ahead and let's bring our sync camera back in. And I gotta say, I thought briefly about using a slightly smaller bowl, and I'm grateful that I did not do that. I'm grateful that I used a bowl of the size that I ended up using. I just want to make sure that the water is nice and cold. There we go. And yeah, now we're going to fill this bad boy up. Fill it up until the fries are fully immersed in the cold water surrounding them. And then we will leave it for a good hour. I'm not going to set up a timer because it's not like we have to be super precise about when we remove them from their water bath. So we'll just let them soak, and then after we feel like a good amount of time has passed, we will move on to the next step that involves our French fries. Okay, there we go. I probably don't want to leave them in the sink. Give me just a moment. I'm just moving off screen. I'm just setting up a little space in the same room as our sink where we can put our soaking French fries. Oh. Yeah, I'll let a little bit of water escape so that we don't have any accidents. And there we go. Please excuse the fact that I am now very briefly a disembodied voice. And there we go. The fries have been put over to the side in their bowl of water. It is right now... what time is it right now? It's 5:50, so 6:50 they'll be ready to go. But again, we're not going to set a precise timer because the actual time is not that important. All right, and with that taken care of, we're on to step 3. All so soon. We're going to chop up a cup's worth of shallots, mince 2 garlic cloves, dice 2 green onion stalks, and slice 8 strips of bacon into inch-sized pieces. And then the idea is that from there we will gradually cook up basically all of these various ingredients that we just minced up. The onions and the garlic we can put together, but we will want to, actually, sorry, I mean the onions and the shallots. The original recipe called for us to use onions, but we still have some shallots left over from the last stream that we did, and so I figured, you know what, I might as well use the shallots up instead. I think that will be a better, more efficient use of the food that's currently in our fridge. Yeah, so the garlic and the shallots we can keep together. But we'll want to keep the green onion stalks and the bacon separate from them. So first things first, I'm trying to think, what do we want to start with? We might as well, I'm going to flip the cutting board over. You know what? I'm going to start, we're going to do all the various vegetables first, and then we will do the bacon at the end, because the bacon, you know, being raw meat, will infect the cutting board and everything else around it. And by the way, hello to the Dino in the chat. We are moving rightly along on our Clam Chowder Poutine recipe today. We're just getting into the part where we are preparing the basic ingredients for our clam chowder while we let a big old bowl of fries soak in some cold water before we later on fry them. Let's see here. I'm just cutting off the edges of these two things of garlic. I still need to cut off more of the edge of that garlic, though. Hold on. And there we go. Actually, you know what? The Dino says, I'm so confused. Oh, so the idea is we're making poutine, which is a classical French dish. And by the way, thank you for the follow. Greatly appreciated. We are making poutine, which is a classical Quebecois French dish consisting of fries, gravy, and cheese curds. Except in this particular case, we are going to be substituting the gravy with clam chowder. Shark Bus Attack says, are you using a proper fryer or are you air frying? I'm going to be using an air fryer. The sole reason being that I would prefer to use a deep fryer, to use a proper deep fryer. But the setup that I have downstairs, like, I can do a lot of things down here. I have a portable burner setup and stuff. The deep frying, I do have a portable deep fryer, but I'm just a little bit cautious and a little bit nervous about using it downstairs. And so I'm, for the time being, going to just use my air fryer. But in the future, I might get to a point. Let me just put this away temporarily. I might get to a point where I'm comfortable, or I figure out a way to properly use the deep fryer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut up the garlic. I actually will be putting the garlic on its own separate bowl or cup or whatever, temporarily separate from the shallots. Because I just realized that we're only going to use some of the onion that we're going to use later on, so best not to combine all the onion with all the shallots. And hello to the Dino once again. I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. The Sharktopus Attack says you can burn down the whole house with a deep fryer. It's definitely, you know, if you don't use it properly with proper care and attention, it can definitely be a little calamitous. So that's why I want to take things a little bit easy. And there we go. I think I minced that garlic up pretty good. So once again, we're going to cut up this thing of garlic into strips. And we are going to mince it once more. I might even, in fact, no, I won't leave it on the cutting board. I'll probably put it in one of the bowls that I have on hand. All right. Let's see here. I'll cut this thing of garlic in half. There we go. Same thing here. And there we go. All right, one last little thing of garlic. Sharkba says, Cozy, do you go heavy on your onion, garlic / shallot in dishes? I grew up in a house that went light on seasoning and flavor. So as an adult, I go whole hog on big flavors. I mean, I'm all for a flavorful dish. I will say I tend to be someone that tends to follow the recipe pretty closely to a T. So I'm not like always just like pouring a whole like bathtub full of salt in these things. But I would say, yeah, I tend to go pretty hog wild when I'm left to my own devices. Some of the people in my household can't really palate things that are flavors that are as strong. And so it is one of those things, though, where I do have to sometimes be accommodating for the other people in my life that I'm cooking for. Okay, let's see here. I'm just going to temporarily put the minced garlic in this bowl over here. And there we go. That's good. All right. Next up, let's go ahead and let's cut up our shallots. I actually had a little bit. Last time that I cut up shallots, I had a surprisingly strong reaction to them. So I'm actually going to clog my nose with a little bit of paper towel. Might look a little bit ridiculous, but it will make this process a lot easier, a lot better, a lot less painful. So just bear with me. Bear with me. The reason I'm doing this is because, of course, the fumes from onions and the various onion cousins that exist infect your eyes, not from like brushing up against your eyes, but from like going in through your no. Now I'm sneezing because of the paper towels in my nose. Ugh. This is not good. You know what? Give me a moment. I'm going to grab just some plain old Kleenexes. I'll be right back. Don't worry, not turning into a werewolf. Not doing anything like that. I'm just getting some proper Kleenexes to plug my noses with during this part of the cooking process. There we go. I'm not turning into a werewolf, but I am turning into a mummy. All right. Let's cut off the ends of these boys. Shallots, deceptively difficult to cut. You think they would be easy to cut and peel, but they're a little bit challenging. right. Now we gotta, maybe if I crush them a little bit, I can more easily remove the skin from them. Hold on. Oh, hold on. I got an important text message. Let me check it real quick. There we go. Sorry, it's important related to some of the dishes that we have coming up later in the stream. That taken care of. Now we got to remove some of the skin from this thing. All right. And now we can finally get to a point where we can begin to cut up our shallots. All right. I can feel my eyes still a little bit affected through the Kleenexes. Not as badly affected as they were last time. So I think the Kleenex effect is working. I say that, and now they got worse all of a sudden. Damn it. How is this so... This is so much more debilitating than like a normal onion. How is it this bad? I'm gonna put this over this temporarily. Hello to GWRRK, who says, clam, what? Yes, I am making clam poutine. Poutine is, of course, a traditional French-Canadian, a traditional Quebecois dish, enjoyed very much here in Montreal, Quebec. It is a dish that normally consists of French fries covered in cheese curds and gravy, but in our particular case, we're going to be substituting the gravy part, which is like typically a thick brown gravy, with clam chowder. It is not my first time making poutine, but it is my first time making clam chowder, so I'm very curious to see how this is going to turn out. Hope that you are having a good day so far. GWRRK, I'm just going to call you Gwerk. Gwerk says, can't you just make a Caesar like the rest of us? I mean, to be totally honest, I've never made a Caesar myself either, so I'm pretty much on equal footing in that regard. I should make a Caesar, though. You know what I should probably do? I'll make a Caesar on my final stream of this season next week. That'll be a fun way to close out the stream. It's going to be a weird stream because, spoilers, my next and final stream of the season is going to be something sweet to coincide with it being Halloween. And so it's going to be a little bit weird to both make something sweet and dessert-like and then also complement it with a Caesar, which is definitely not a dessert food. Be it the salad form of Caesar or, of course, Caesar the drink. All right. It seems like Gwerk did not appreciate that joke. It's all right. I have many equally bad jokes. In addition to that one, let me just have a little bit of water. All right. Next up, just to confirm, we have to cut up 2 green onion stalks. And thank you, by the way, Gwerk, for the follow. Really appreciate it. Let's see here. Where is... There we go. Oh, no. Oh, no. It would appear a bottle of milk that I had inside my cooler pack may or may not have spilled on some of the other contents of the cooler pack. It's okay, though, because it seems like it didn't... Everything else in the cooler pack was inside of their own bags or containers, so nothing has been infected with the milk. So we don't need to clean this thing of green onions any more than we need to. That said, I probably will rinse the 2 stalks that I end up using. Cheese curds and chowder. Yeah, the idea is I'm going to fry up some French fries in our air fryer. I'm going to cover them with cheese curds, and I will cover those cheese curds with clam chowder. The clam chowder I'm making today will be a white clam chowder, no tomatoes, and also there will not be any potatoes in it, but the lack of potatoes is purely just a decision on the part of the original recipe because this dish already prominently features French fries, so no reason to go hog wild with even more. I'm going to cover this temporarily in a bunch of paper towels. No reason to, like, add excess potatoes to a dish that already is very potato heavy, basically, is the idea. This is a particular recipe that comes from Renee Paquette's cookbook, Messy in the Kitchen. Yes, Renee Paquette of wrestling. She did a cookbook a few years back, and I've consulted the cookbook on a few occasions, and I've always been pretty consistently impressed with its offerings. She has a great recipe in there for basically all dressed pork chops that are like crusted with all dressed ruffles. That's I've made a couple of times on my cooking streams in the past. That is very tasty. Very, very, very tasty. I'm just going to give these a quick little rinse. There we go. The thing about the clam chowdering we'll be making today is apparently it's totally fine to just eat on its own. So I'll definitely, before I pour it onto my fries to make poutine, I'll definitely try some of the gravy as is to see how it tastes by itself. All right, and I'm gonna try to chop these bad boys up. Actually, you know what? Let me cut a little bit. The ends of these are a little bit worse for wear, so I'm gonna cut them off there. Now I am going to chop these guys very, very finely. And there we go. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. You know what I can do, actually? I can actually temporarily put these green onions inside this cup over here. I was previously using it to just store a couple of spoons. And there we go. Sharktopus Attack says, good luck, Cozy. Time for dinner here. I'll catch you for the finale. Why, thank you. I hope that you have a good dinner, Sharktopus. And I will, even if you don't catch the finale, I will be posting images of the completed dish to my Twitter and, you know, eventually later on down the road, the Instagram as well. So you can look forward to the finished product there as well. All right, we've taken care of our 3 vegetables, which means we need to cut up our bacon next. Now I got, for the bacon, and the bacon also got a little bit of milk on it, so I'm going to have to wipe up the milk too. This is 30% off bacon with basically, I guess, slightly reduced sugar and salt content. I did my research online and they indicated, yeah, like bacon that's on the verge of expiring will be fine in the fridge for a few days after that point. So even though it is a little bit off, even though it's not the freshest bacon, it will be totally A-okay and fine for what it is that we're going to be making today. But I just need to get it open. Damn it. You know what? I think I need to use... I think I need to use a pair of scissors. Give me a moment. Okay, and I will also, yeah, I'll cut that open there as well. All right, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that is 8. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the bacon back in there. You know what I'm going to do? Normally I would just put the stuff back in my cooler pack that I have over here, but because the interior of the cooler pack is covered with a little bit of spilt milk, I'm actually going to run upstairs and just put this thing back in my fridge temporarily, because it will be much cleaner and safer there, and also it's best if it's, you know, on the verge of expiring to obviously have it refrigerated as much as possible. So I will be right back in just a moment. I am back, and hello to Gwerk. I'm still here because I am still cooking my dinner, says Gwerk in the chat. Not a problem at all. I appreciate the company. I had to also go to the bathroom as I was in the process of putting the bacon away. And so I am back now after a slightly extended moment away from my stream. Let me just move some stuff around. There we go. All right, now I am going to cut up our bacon into inch-sized pieces to the best of my ability with the knife that we have at our disposal, which is not a very good knife. So please be patient with me during this process. Go. We're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, I just realized something. Give me a moment. I'll get to the end of the bacon and then I will reveal the thing that I just realized. I have not, throughout this entire stream, shown an image of what this particular dish should look like. Let me bring in my recipe image real quick over in the upper left-hand corner. This is the official illustration provided in Renee Paquette's cookbook. I'm very impressed with how brown she was able to get the fries in that photo. She did a real good job frying them up. We probably will not be able to get our fries as browned as that, but overall, the dish looking very, 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 very good. Some big old chunks of green onions there. I probably won't use as many green onions as she's using in that photo, but definitely something to aspire for. That is the green onions, which I cut those up just a little bit earlier. Hold on. My hands are still a little bit infected with the juices of the bacon. I am going to bring in the sync camera just so I can wash them, and then I will show you the green onion. Sorry, give me just a little bit moment. The thing about green onion is that it doesn't really, I mean, it's in the same, like, kind of like, I guess, genus, family, whatever, as onions. It is technically an onion, but it definitely doesn't look like an onion. It almost looks more closer to something like green beans or something. There we go. Here we go. See, I cut them up and I put them in my cup a little bit earlier. As you can see, this is what they look like. And so, yeah, that's what we will be putting on them later on. But I don't love green onions that much, so I probably won't be putting as many on the finished product as she put on them. All right, we cut up all our things, which means that we are finally ready to move on to step number 4. This is a bit of a slow-going recipe, but there are a lot of things that we need to take care of. We are going to, step 4, we're going to cook our chopped up bacon in a large pot until crispy, and then remove 1/3 of the cooked bacon from the pot and put it aside. So let's move a couple of things around, because this is where we are going to set up our portable burner for the first time on today's stream. I don't need to, this is an infected scissor. I'll put that over there temporarily. All right. I'm gonna plug in our portable burner. There we go. Make sure it's still off. And I'm also going to set up our portable hood range so we can suck up excess fumes from our portable burner as it cooks whatever it is that it's going to be cooking. And there we go. Let me just consult my recipe. It says that we want to cook our bacon in our large pot until crispy, but I realize in my notes I never specified the exact heat at which we need to cook our bacon. So let me just consult the original recipe. It says, cook the bacon until crispy, remove about 1/3 of the bacon. It doesn't even say in the original recipe, which is not very helpful. All right. We'll just have to, I'm going to set it to like medium. No, let me have to turn it on. And now I'm going to set it to, of the 7 different knobs, I'm going to set it between 4 and 5. Actually, this one, I'll set it to a little bit above 5. That should be good. While it's heating up, I'm just going to take a moment to clean up some of the excess bacon water that fell around the pot. There we go. I always try to be very clean when dealing with meat, so I'm not just getting the gunk everywhere, potentially making myself and others sick. Okay. So we'll let that heat up a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead. I'll read a little bit ahead so you know what to expect from this recipe in the future. And also, I'm going to move this around a little bit just so that it can be a little bit more centered in the frame. There we go. After step 4, we're going to move on to step 5. We are going to cook both our minced garlic and 1 cup of our chopped up onion with the remaining bacon until soft, about 3 to 5 minutes. We'll then add 1 small teaspoon of dried thyme and 2 bay leaves to our pot and continue cooking until aromatic. And that will basically serve as the basis of the clam chowder. And so that's sort of the current situation. Let me see here. There are a lot of things that we still have left to do on this stream, despite us having already done quite a bit. Gwork in the chat says, are you just using frozen fries? That's what we use when making poutine. I actually am making fries from scratch. Right now, it's off camera, and it would be a little bit hard to see them, but I have a big pot of freshly cut up russet potatoes that I'm letting soak in cold water for about an hour. We're going to be using those in the air fryer. As I explained earlier, it's one of those things where I would use just like a typical, like normal oil fryer if I was making fries. But right now in my downstairs basement setup, I'm just a little bit concerned about the, safety of doing that down here. And so I'm just going to be air frying them instead because that's a little bit safer. At some point in the future, I will come up with a means of using my oil fryer down here. But in my particular case, I'm using normal French fries that I made from scratch. Though I will probably end up freezing some of the fries that I've made today for the future because I probably won't end up needing to use all of them. Let's see here. I want to see how hot this thing is. Oh, yeah, I think I can already hear it sizzling. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put the whole shebang in here and begin frying it up. Now, the only thing is a lot of the pieces of bacon are actually clinging together at the moment, which is not my intention, but maybe the more I cook them, the more they will eventually come apart. Let me just check something real quick. Let me just... I'm going to turn on my portable hood range so I can begin to suck up the excess fumes. There we go. Now that the bacon has begun to cook a little bit, I can actually a little bit more easily... It's a little bit easier for me to now separate them, which is good. So it'll make it easier for me to fully cook them through. I think this is the right temperature. The bacon is cooking at a good rate. It probably won't be long before we get to a point where the bacon is nice and crispy. Go. Let me just... I need to make sure that the steam is properly getting sucked up by the portable hood range. Let me just, while I'm here, while we're waiting for the bacon to do its thing, I just want to check to make sure. You know what? We need... I'll go ahead and I'm just going to, in advance, measure out our teaspoon of thyme. Considering we're going to need that for the next step. Originally, the original recipe called for a 2 teaspoons, but because we're using dried thyme, we're just going to use a small single teaspoon. Should be about enough. Hello to Emerging Object in the chat. Emerging Object in the chat says, "Where are the clams?" I will show you the clams in just a moment. Actually, we don't need this dried thyme anymore, so I can put it in the trolley underneath me. Give me just a moment. These right here are the clams. This is whole baby clams. It says perfect in chowders and pasta sauces. This is from President's Choice, which is a Canadian brand. And thank you, hey, Emerging Object, thank you for the follow. This thing contains baby clams, water, salt, citric acid, sodium phosphate, calcium disodium, EDTA. I have no clue what that is. It says that it may contain shell fragments, but they probably won't be very big. All right. Oh, I'm going to stir around the bacon a little bit, make sure that nothing is... Need to make sure that nothing is burning, but it doesn't seem like anything's burning yet. We will eventually... It's going to start to crisp up pretty soon, I think. Let me just... I'm just going to put this over here temporarily to the side. And you know what? I'm going to grab the 2 bay leaves that we're going to use as well. I've never had proper poutine, says Emerging Object. Gwerk must be disappointed in me. And Gwerk says, supporting Galen's empire. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing about poutine is, like, to be clear, poutine is deeply unhealthy for you. It's not the kind of thing that you should eat just any day of the week. You got to properly mentally and physically prepare yourself for an explosion of just flavor and diabetes. But it is very delicious, and you should definitely try it once in your life, especially if you have ever lived in or near Canada. I'll put it that way. Got our 2 bay leaves ready for our next step of the recipe. Oh. Don't worry, no bacon is sticking yet, but it was a little bit close there. Thank you. Thank you so much to Mama Cozy, who went and graciously picked up some cheese curds for me in the middle of the stream, because I realized at the very beginning that I forgot them. Thank you so much. All right. Ah, man. Let me just grab a little bit more water. Hell yeah. Shout out to Mama Cozy for coming in clutch there. If you missed the beginning of the stream, I had a very, very embarrassing moment where I realized, oh shit, I have all the ingredients prepared for tonight's meal except for the cheese curds, which are kind of the critical ingredient, and she was able to help me out, which is great because typically when I do these streams, nobody else is at home. I'm typically the only person at home, but she was at home and she was able to help me out, which I really, really appreciate. Well, our bacon is getting kind of crispy. I'll let it cook a little bit longer so that it can take on more of the like brownish color associated with crisped up bacon, and then we'll move on to the next step. Oh, you know what I realized? For the next step, we're going to need to use exactly a cup of the chopped up shallots from earlier, so I'm going to measure that ahead of time. Just to make things faster for ourselves. I think that is a cup. So we will use that much. All right, just another couple of minutes and our bacon is going to be ready. And I'm now realizing I bet I can probably use this bowl, put the third of the bacon in. Gork says curd supplier. I definitely should. At some point, I know I'm supposed to put these on the poutine, but I definitely should taste some of the curd supplied to me, because these things are so incredibly tasty, even on their own, even as a snack. They're very caloric. You shouldn't like eat them excessively, but they are very, very tasty. All right, I think we have 1 more minute left on the bacon, and then I'll put some over to the side. Work in the chat says, please eat against the mic to record squeak. Oh, you know I am going to do that. And if they don't squeak, I'm going to burn down the whole house. There's no point in going on. All right. I think that our bacon is where we need it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove a third of it and put it in this bowl over here. That looks... Let me just get a little bit more out of there. I think that's about... Yeah, I think that's about even. Okay. And that is a third of our bacon put over there to the side, which means that we are ready to move on to step 5. We're going to cook both our minced garlic and 1 cup of our chopped up shallots with the remaining bacon until soft, about 3 to 5 minutes. We'll then add 1 small teaspoon of thyme and 2 of our bay leaves to the pot and continue to cook until aromatic. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring in our 5-minute timer over here in the center of the screen, center left, and I am going to turn it on as we add our minced garlic and shallots. Where is it? Here we go. Man, this is starting to smell really good. This Renee Paquette, she made a good cookbook. All right. I promised I would do it, so you know what? Let's do it right now. I'm going to grab some cheese curds, if I can open this bag, and we are going to taste test this cheesy creation. Let me just, hold on, I need to use the scissors again. There we go. We're not going to have too many of these, because again, we need to save them for the poutine. But I'll have a couple. This is from Petit Quebec, which is a maker of many discounted cheeses that you can buy at our grocery stores. Apparently this is a new product from them, even though obviously, you know, Cheese Curds is a well-known establishment in the Quebec culinary game. Let me just, real quick, I'm going to switch over to my zoomed-in main camera, and so you can see me in full HD chow into one of these things. I can definitely, here's the thing, I want to confirm, Gork, that I can definitely feel and hear the squeaking inside me, but I don't think it's being picked up by the mic. They're great. They really are great on their own. These aren't the best cheese curds I've ever eaten, but they're very good. They definitely have a strong, rich cheddar taste to them. And I am looking forward to eating them alongside the poutine that we're going to be making today. Last one. Okay. See, we have about a minute and a half left on our timer, which seems appropriate because our garlic and our shallots are definitely being amply cooked through as we speak. Let me zoom in again. Let's see here. I'll knock those two things off. Next up, just to move ahead to step 6, we are going to need to add in a little bit of butter, flour, and dry white wine. So I'm actually going to get, I don't have the butter on the table yet, so I'm going to get the butter out of our little cooler pack. I have it wrapped up in plastic wrap so as to keep it safe. And I figure I might as well show off my dry white wine. So for this particular recipe, this is a de-alcoholized Chardonnay. I don't mind. I don't have an issue with alcohol, but I was looking for something relatively inexpensive because I knew I wasn't going to use the whole bottle. And I saw this at a fairly reasonable price, and so I figured, why not? This is medium-bodied with notes of grapefruit and kumquat, according to the description on this thing. I should probably try a little bit of this as well, in fact. But I'm not sure what I could use as like a shot glass for this particular thing. Maybe if I just... No, I don't want to drink from the bottle. Don't want to do that. You know what I could do, though? You know what I could do? Oh, and the timer is up. You know what? Let me put a pin in that. Let's go back to the recipe in question. So our garlic and shallots are nice and softened up. I can confirm. Which means that next we are going to add a small teaspoon dried thyme to our pot. And I'm also going to add 2 bay leaves, and we're going to continue to cook them for a moment until they are nice and aromatic. Okay. And I'll just let that cook for a moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the big... Actually, I'm going to use the tablespoon for the butter. Oh, no, you know what I'll do? I'll take one of these spoons, and I'll just pour a little bit on the spoon. We'll see how that tastes. Oops. Accidentally got a little bit of it in the pot. Not bad. I actually would not have an issue drinking that just by itself. Of course, it won't get you fucked up because there's no alcohol in it, but I can see the appeal if you're like a recovering alcoholic and you need, you need the taste, but you don't want the demons that come with it. All right. We are going to let's melt our tablespoon of butter in the pot. So we're going to grab a thing of butter and we're going to dig a tablespoon into here. Get ourselves a nice tablespoon of the stuff. And there we go. I don't believe we need any more butter, so I'm going to put the butter back in its plastic wrap and back in the trolley. We'll let the butter mix up a little bit in the pan so that it melts a little bit. There we go. And next up, we're going to slowly add 1/3 cup of flour. So let's get our measuring cup back in here. So there's little specks of shallots in it. I prepared, instead of grabbing the whole bag of flour, I just got a small cup of the flour. And so we're going to measure out 1/3 of this. Just a little more. A little more. Now, did I put too much? Yeah, I put too much. Hold on. I will tend to you, bacon dish, in just a bit. Huh? And there we go. We got 1/3 of a cup of flour. So it says that we want to slowly add in 1/3 of a cup of flour. So I'm going to put in a little bit and then we'll stir. We're basically making a kind of on-the-fly roux with the bacon and onions and shallots and whatnot mixed in. Oops, wrong cup of flour. Let's put a little bit more in here. I'm going to put this, so that we don't make a mistake again, I'm going to put this thing of flour into our trolley. Go. A little bit more flour from here. And put a little bit more. continue mixing it up, continue to develop our roux. Emerging Object says, roux it up. I agree. I agree. I feel bad for whoever's going to have to soak and clean up this dish later, I'll say that much. And there we go, second to last batch. I wonder if I should have maybe used a wooden spoon instead of this kind of floppy plastic spoon. And here we go, last batch of the flour. All right. Real quick, before I forget, we don't need to use any more of these shallots. I'm going to put them in the trolley as well. Next up, we're going to grab our milk, the milk that spilled a little bit in our cooler a little bit earlier, and just have this ready to go because we're going to need to use it soon. Before we use it, we're going to measure out a half a cup of our de-alcoholized dry white wine. We're going to put that in there. There we go. And so the idea is we're going to pour in our half a cup of dry white wine, and we're going to continue to stir for another few minutes until we can smell the alcohol cooking out of the wine, although in this particular case, there is no alcohol, so we'll just cook it for a few minutes until it feels right. It's generated a lot of steam, so I'm just bumping up the setting on the hood range for a little bit. It's really become pasty over the past few minutes. This is not what I expected. It's the same spoon that I used for the alcohol earlier. Just using to scrape the detritus from the spoon back in the pot. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go ahead. Let's measure out our milk. Because step number 7 is we are going to add a cup of milk, 2 cups of chicken stock, and 1 cup of half and half into our mixture, and bring it to a simmer. So let's measure out our milk first. Yep, that's a cup. Let's see here. Just leave this to cook for like another minute or so, but I just want to be careful because I don't want anything to obviously start randomly burning. And I should probably get our half and half out of here as well, considering we're going to need to use this too. Gwork says, just deglaze the pan. It'll be fine. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's just go ahead. We'll do it now. All right. In goes the milk. Next up, real quick, we're going to put in our 2 cups of chicken stock. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can get a better view of the action. That is our 1 cup. And that is our second cup. And finally, we got to put our half and half in here. Took me a while to find this stuff. And there we go. There we go. Chowder! Chowder! All right. And I'm going to mix this bad stuff up. I'm also gonna play around with the settings of the hood range. Set it to a lower speed. And so, yeah, with all of our various liquids poured in here, we are going to bring this bad boy to a simmer. Okay, now while this thing comes to a simmer, we got to do something real quick. I have right here 2 cans of clams that we're going to put in the next step. But the problem is, these 2 cans of clams are actually slightly more than what we need. The original recipe calls for 3 6.5 ounces of clams, but what we have are 284 gram cans. So I'm going to do a little bit of math real quick. Grams to ounces. We have 284, and 284 times 2 is 568. 568 grams to ounces is 20 ounces. The original recipe calls for us to use a 6.5 ounce cans. 6.5 times 3 is... Hold on. 6.5 times 3 is 19.5. So we're actually pretty close, although we could use a little bit less. Clam math. That is indeed what we're dealing with right here. Let me just deal with something real quick. So yeah, I'm guessing that it's probably going to be fine if I just use both of these cans. I think it might be maybe a little bit more clammy than what the original recipe called for. But like not by a huge degree. And honestly, like if I remove some of the clams, I don't know what I'm going to do with these cans. So I think it'll be fine. So real quick, I am going to... let me just remove a couple of things from the table real quick to help things out. I'm going to put the thing of milk back in our cooler. I am going to... most of the rest of the things that are still on the table, we might need to use a little bit. We actually will not need to use this digital scale, which I thought we were going to need to use, so we'll put that in there. I don't think we'll need to use this bowl, so we'll put this here as well, just temporarily. And I think that's that for now. Oh, you know what? We probably won't need to use this cutting board and knife. I'm going to put that into the trolley as well. Okay, with that taken care of, I can see our chowder is getting very close to the point of beginning to simmer. I am going to use our can opener And open up our cans of clams. Oh, interesting. The clams are in smaller pieces than I thought they were going to be, and I thought they were going to be in slightly bigger pieces, but they're actually very small, which is good for us. Because the original recipe asked not specifically for baby clams, but just for normal size chopped up clams, but it seems like things evened out in that regard. And there we go. We're ready to clam this thing up. Maybe I'll just forego some of the extra clam juice when we're pouring the second can in, so it's not as clammy as originally planned. All right. I don't think we'll need to use this measuring cup anymore, so I'll put this in the trolley as well. Let's see, our temperature. We are actually very close to 6, which is not my intention. I'm going to move it back down to the middle of 5 and 6. There we go. Smells clammy. Mountain Dew or crab juice. That's a Simpsons reference, right? I would love to taste crab juice at the very least, even if it is the fictional Simpsons version, just to see what that's like. I can just barely begin to see it simmering. I'm just gonna maybe wait like another minute and then we will be good. Let's move this over here. You know what? I realized because I used these scissors earlier to cut up the thing of bacon, I think I should probably put these in the trolley to be washed later. Emerging Object says I gotta go to book club. Book club. Oh, book club. I was like a club where you read books. Oh, like not that kind of club. Not a kind of club. Like a book club where you're reading books. I hope it turns out good. Thank you, Emerging Object. Thank you for providing me with company on this crazy-ass stream. And it seems like our thing is beginning to simmer, so let's put our clams in here. Gwork says, coincidentally, I'm making a stew, and I'm going through some of these same steps. I mean, not surprising. A lot of similar stews involve you doing similar-ish things to what we've done today. Okay, well, I ended up using both cans, but that should be fine. I'll put the cans in the trolley. I guess I can just let it reduce a little bit longer if I feel like the resulting chowder is like a little bit too watery or whatever. Stirring it up a little bit. And there we go. Let's read a little bit further. So we've added our various ounces of cans of chopped clams to the pot. And the idea is that now we want to bring it back up to a simmer, and we're going to let it simmer for 10 minutes. It says that if during this process, we want to thicken our chowder further. We can mix together 1/4 of a cup of flour with 1/3 a cup of water to make a slurry, and then slowly mix it up into the soup. Either way, once our 10 minutes are up, we'll remove the chowder from heat and set it aside. So that's something to consider, but not necessarily something that we're going to do. I'm gonna wait for our chowder to reach a simmer so that we can put on our timer and know how long it's been simmering for. And then once that starts, I'm gonna run into the room where we have our fries that have been soaking for the past hour or so, and I am going to take them out so that we can begin to work on them. I'm realizing this is the cover of the pot, but we're not really using it in the stream right now, so I'm going to put it in our trolley temporarily. Okay. You know, I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit. Just a little bit. There we go. You know what, I might as well prep the timer so that we have the 10-minute timer ready to go. Let me... Where are we here? I'm going to zoom in a little bit, give you a better view of the action. A little bit of a slow moment, but you know, some of these things we just got to let them move at their own pace. As I've mentioned many times throughout today's stream, the particular recipe book that we're consulting is Messy in the Kitchen, My Guide to Eating Delicious... Oh, I actually made a bit of a mistake. Earlier I said it was called Messy in the Kitchen, My Guide to Eating Deliciously, but that's not actually the full title. The full title is Messy in the Kitchen, My Guide to Eating Deliciously, Hosting Fabulously, and Sipping Copiously. I figured it'd be fun to read a little bit of the beginning of the book. It's a long-ass introduction. I'll read the first paragraph here, and we can get back to more of it later on. Holy crap! I can't believe this is happening, and it's here. I manifested this so hard. I've wanted to make this cookbook for years. I actually had about half of it written before I even got a book deal. I was just hoping and praying that if I put it out into the universe enough, someone else would also think this was a good idea. So here we are. You're now holding my book in your hands. What the hell? Technically holding it in phone form, but you get the idea. It seems like our particular chowder has begun to simmer, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to turn on our 10-minute timer so that we can keep track of how long it has begun simmering for. And I'm going to go temporarily off camera. Actually, we're going to drain our fries, so I am going to go off camera and turn on our sync camera so that we can show them being drained in all their drain-like glory. Gonna move this out of the way. Oh, this one fell. I'll just put them over to the side. Now it's a little bit... There's still yet excess fries to be drained from this, but it's a little hard to do without tipping the whole thing over. Well, what I really need is I need like a plate. You know what? I actually have just the thing. Hold on just a moment. Hold on just a moment. Well, it seems like our chowder is doing nice and good. I'm going to grab this plate that we've been using intermittently throughout the stream, and I'm going to use it to properly drain the rest of the fries. Like such. And there we go. I'm going to grab that fry over there. Let me bring the sync camera out of the way. I am going to turn down the heat a little bit on this so it's not bubbling too strongly. I'm going to put it between 4 and 5. I think that'll be the better call. Okay. You know what? I'm going to turn it down even more. I'm going to turn it down to 4. I'll give it a little bit of a stir. There we go. All right. Let's reconsult our recipe. So this is jumping a little bit ahead. This is step 9. We're going to drain our potato strips, which you just did. We're going to dry them and the bowl. And then we're going to return them all to the bowl. So this is actually a little bit of a slightly complicated process. We're going to... Let's see here. I'll grab like a bunch of these. Oh, and that one fell on the floor. Whoops. I'll have to clean them up later. I just realized I never use this bowl for anything, so I can use it as well. I'll keep that one there. I'm gonna I'll go and I'll clean this one up before I forget to do so. There we go. All right. The chowder is beginning to smell really good, by the way. Really, really good. Fries keep dropping, and it's a real problem. I did not anticipate that this is going to produce this many fries, if I'm going to be totally bluntly honest with you at home. So why add clams? Well, man, so many are dropping. Hold on. Hold on. Listen, I will get back to you in just a minute. I am going to go upstairs and I'm going to very quickly grab another bowl to help me out with this process, because there's a lot of fries that we got to deal with here. I'll be right back. I am back, and I got myself a big old bowl to help out with this process. Yeah, I was not anticipating that we were gonna be dealing with this many fries. So yeah. So to answer your question, Gwerk, we're adding clams because this is indeed clam chowder. I mean, you can technically make clam chowder without the clams. It's not like the clams are absolutely critical, but I would say it's a pretty critical factor of it. Let me... Hold on, I'm going to move some things out of the way, and we're going to zoom out a little bit so you can get a better view of the operation that I have going on here. Basically, I'm taking them out of the bowl here, and I'm drying them, and I'm putting them back in the bowl over here. All right. I'll just take a moment to stir this thing up a little bit more. See how it's doing. I think it's doing okay. We have about a minute left. I'm thinking that maybe I should actually thicken it using the slurry technique described earlier. Okay. All right, these are good. Them in there. Just a few more fries that we got to dry. Then we will finally be able to move on to the next step of this process. Also, our timer is up. Let's see how this thing is doing. will I need to create our slurry? You know what? For the fun of it, I think we should go ahead. Let's create our slurry, actually. So I'm just gonna, let me turn down the heat a little bit. There we go. Let's reconsult our recipe. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna mix up 1/4 of a cup of flour with 1/3 of a cup of water to make a slurry. Okay. Okay, we're gonna need to do a couple of things here. I'll measure out the water first in our measuring cup. There we go. That's 1/3 of a cup of water. And next, I'm going to grab the pitcher of flour that we put into our trolley a little bit earlier. I'm going to measure out 1/4 of a cup of flour in here. Let me just put a little bit more in here. There we go. That's good. Put the flour back in the trolley. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the water from the bowl back in the measuring cup. And we're going to mix that up. All right. Okay, and now we are going to, let me grab this spoon over here. We're going to mix up our chowder while slowly adding the slurry. I can already feel it actually beginning to thicken. Amazing. And there we go. Let me just... I'm going to just use the spoon to just scrape up some extra bits of the slurry that are still in the measuring cup. We'll get them in here. There we go. I'm going to stir that up. Let me turn up the heat a little bit back in the pot, and I'm gonna just I'll let it like simmer for like another like minute or two, just while we finish drying up the fries, and then we'll move on to the next step. We're getting to almost the bottom of our fries. Stir it a little bit more. Yeah, this is nice. This is a real thick-ass chowder. A little bit more to go. Okay. Oh, and before I forget, there are a few fries over here that got a little bit. These fries got, I think they fell on the floor or whatever, so I'm gonna bring in the sync camera so I can clean them up a little bit. I am back. I am going to just wipe down any excess water that's still in the interior of this bowl. And we're going to use it to make some fries. There we go. All right, let's consult our recipe once again. We've jumped around our steps a lot. Yeah, so we've cooked our clam chowder long enough. So I'm going to turn off the heat on the burner. I'm going to just stir it up a little bit. That's good. I am going to turn off. I turned off the heat, but I'm also going to unplug the portable burner. I'm going to. Let's see. Let me move a couple of things around real quick. I'm going to take the pot that the chowder is currently inside of, and I'm going to put it on this hot plate over here. Let me just push it a little bit over here. There we go. And as for the portable burner, I'm probably going to want to put that out of the way as well. Let me just move a couple things about. And I'm gonna let me grab my Evolution oven mitts. I'm gonna use it to move the portable burner to the other side of the table. There we go. All right. Okay. Where is phone? Here is phone. So we have cleaned up our potato strips. Now next up, the plan is that the original plan was that we were going to mix 8 tablespoons of canola oil, a smattering of salt, and just a wee bit of pepper into our potato strips, and then cook them up in the air fryer. However, I feel like we probably don't need to do that with all these potato strips all at once. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put like half in the bowl. Just half. And we'll just do like half the amount of seasoning. There we go. Just need to determine what is like the equal amount. I think this is about equal, actually. I think I could probably put a few in here. And there we go. Okay. So I'm going to put this. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap. I'm going to bring our air fryer over here to the table. I'm going to take the fries we're not going to be using. I'm going to put them over here. And now I'll just keep this here for the time being. Let's grab our canola oil and our measuring spoons, and I'm going to measure out 4 tablespoons of canola oil. It's 1 tablespoon. It's 2 tablespoons. It's 3 tablespoons. And that's 4 tablespoons. There we go. Good amount, although I might need to add more. We will see. And now going to grab a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, and we will season them not too intensely because they will be plenty seasoned with all the other ingredients that we have prepared today. Just enough to add a little bit of boost in flavor so they can be enjoyed on their own. Zoom in, and I am going to, with my hands, season up all of these bad boys. Make sure they all have a nice, judicious amount of salt, pepper, and oil, all covering them all up. A couple of them spilled out, but that's okay. All right, my hands are a little bit oily, so I'm going to turn to the sink to rinse them. There we go. Bring the sync camera out, and let's go ahead and let's set up our, I'll just put this over to the side over here. We are rapidly running out of space. I'm going to set up and turn on our air fryer. Okay, now here's the plan for the air fryer. Also, I should probably, I'm realizing right now, I should probably zoom out a little bit because otherwise this is not going to look very good. Maybe I'll set it on its side like that, so at least you can see the hatch coming in and out of it. So the plan is that we are going to preheat our air fryer to 375 degrees with a timer of 20 minutes. And there we go, it's preheating. And now the idea is we're going to put as many fries as we can fit into our basket as is reasonable. And then the idea is that we're going to cook them for 10 minutes. Then we're going to flip them over at the 10-minute mark. And then we're going to keep cooking them for another 10 minutes or until they are crispy, golden brown, whichever comes first. So let me... hold on, I should probably have a couple of things ready. Put that there. We don't need our portable hood range anymore. So I'm going to actually turn the portable hood range off. Gonna wrap it up so that we can put it away later. I'll just put it over here temporarily. And I'm also gonna put the cover on our clam chowder. Like that. Wow, we used up all our paper towels today. They're basically all gone. Amazing. Air fryer is still heating up. But it'll be ready in just a moment for the next step. Oh, here we go. All right. Let me grab this real quick. Okay. I'm going to use that to support the basket. We're really, really cramped for space, but I will do my best. Okay. Let's put our fries in here. I'm going to try to space them out so that, again, you don't have any really on top of each other. Just put a few, I can fit a few small ones in here. Let me just get them in. Fortunately, this air fryer is not the biggest thing of all time. It can only fit so many fries in there. All right, I think that's good. And there we go. We're off to the races. I'm going to... My hands got a little bit greasy again from handling the fries, so I am going to rinse them again. Frit says Gork. Indeed. Est-ce qu'on aime les patates frites? Oui, on aime les frites. Oh, and I just realized I should, once I return back over here, set a timer for 10 minutes so we know when to flip over our fries. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to put the rest of the fries over here. This is the bowl that we have our serving spoon on for the gravy. We'll deal with that later. Salt and pepper. We don't need any more of these, so we'll put these in the trolley. The other gunk. And yeah, I mean, not much else to be done right now. We kind of got to just let the air fryer do its thing. But I can move the air fryer a little bit back over here. There we go. So that will give us a little bit more space. All right. While our fries do their thing, let me read a little bit more from the introduction of Messy in the Kitchen. So, previously, Renee Paquette was talking about how she'd been meaning to make this cookbook for a while. She'd already written like half of it. Let me read a little bit more. I've loved cooking for a very long time and was food obsessed long before that. I come from a family of capable home chefs and adventurous eaters. There's literally nothing I won't try. I won't at least try. You have no idea my excitement when I see a new chip flavor on display at the grocery store. That's my happy place. I also deeply appreciate experimenting with food, testing out what works in the kitchen, what excites my taste buds, and making adjustments on the fly. Unlike baking, which is actual science, I prefer the whimsical nature of not having to take this all so seriously. You can cook. It just takes trial and error and taking it easy on yourself and being a rat under a Parisian man's hat. Hey, you can always fall back on ordering a pizza. By the way, I added in that last part. Not the pizza part, the rat part. You can always fall back on ordering a pizza if your endeavor turns into an epic fail. Believe me, I've been there. When I first started doing this book, I felt that I knew my way around the kitchen pretty well, but now, having spent so much time testing recipes and remaking dishes, I've achieved a whole new level of confidence. Time spent in the kitchen is never a loss. At the very least, it means more experience under your belt. We're all spending so much time at home these days, and when Postmates and Uber Eats are genius, and while Postmates and Uber Eats are genius ideas, and I love a ton of those guys, nothing beats a home-cooked meal, and nothing tops the joy of cooking for other people. Is there anything more satisfying than having friends and family over, watching everyone take their first bite, and realizing you just nailed that meal? I don't think so. However, my husband is well over me staring at him while he tastes something I just made, my eyes full of hope and anticipation. It's a lot of pressure, I know. Just tell me it's good, and I'll leave you alone. One of my favorite things is having people over and feeding them an abundance of delicious food and copious cocktails. Happy, full, and tipsy. From hosting a barbecue, Friendsgiving, Christmas with a house full of family, or just having some drinks and snacks, I love when my house is packed with people. Loud and messy is my jam. But over years of figuring out how to orchestrate it and getting better and better at it, I wanted to share with you some of my favorite recipes, tips, and tricks. My biggest two tips are these: clean as you go and keep everyone's glasses full. Well, I've already been cleaning as I go. Not really been drinking a lot, though. Throughout this book, I'll cover some of my favorite pantry staples, items I need on hand, and a backup just in case, kitchen utensils I live by, and recipes from breakfast to snacks to dinner, and some cocktails to round it all out. If you follow me on Instagram or know me IRL, you know that I'm a music junkie. Nothing gets my chakras aligned and my zen just right like slow cooking a meal, sipping a glass of wine, and spinning some of my favorite artists. That's my church. So I've added a few playlists for your earhole's pleasure. I've reached out to some of my favorite people, and they've helped me curate these playlists that I hope you enjoy thoroughly. So get ready to roll up the sleeves, pop a cork, and feed some mouths. Thank you for taking time to read my book. You have no idea how happy it makes me feel, for real. I've not actually gotten to the... I've never actually broached the part where she gets into some of the, why am I blanking on this? Playlist. Sorry, because she talked in the intro about her having a playlist of music that she listens to when she cooks for people. Never really consulted the playlist. Maybe I should. Let me, just for fun, because I've never done this on any of these streams. I've used this cookbook before. I've used this cookbook many times in the past for things like the all-dressed pork chop stream and a bunch of other things like that, but I've never actually read some of the other recipes in here. Just for fun, let's read about some of the other recipes that you can enjoy in Renee Paquette's cookbook. So this is the breakfast section. Here are some of the recipes that we have here. We have overnight breakfast casserole. We have cinnamon rolls. We have sweet potato hash. We have the Scotch egg. We have curry eggs in heaven. You know what? For the dramatic reading that we're currently having, I'm going to actually switch over to our big zoomed in camera view. We have curry eggs in heaven, and we have eggs in snow. A lot of eggs here. A lot of big old eggs here. These look delicious too. Let me just... Now we have to go back to the beginning, which is something I don't appreciate. I wish it was a little bit easier to go back to the table of contents. Next up is snacks and such. Let me read to you some of the snacks. We have Bloody Mary deviled eggs. Yes, Bloody Mary deviled eggs. We have Clam Chowder Poutine, which is what we're making today. We have regular ass poutine, because afterwards she understands that a lot of people will just want to have a regular ass poutine, so she's included that as well. We have the art of the charcuterie, as they say en français. We have turkey pesto twists. That sounds a little complicated. We have fried lobster tails on a stick. Then we have jammy tomatoes on toast. I think that Sharktopus and his love of tomatoes would appreciate that one. And then we have rosemary snack mix. Oh, we have another page here. Then we have anchovy popcorn. That sounds interesting. I would want to try that. That sounds like a unique dish. Then we have calamari with pepperoncini, if you're nasty. That's what it's actually called. It's called calamari with pepperoncini, comma, if you're nasty. Then we have coconut shrimp, beef patties, and chorizo stuffed mushrooms. These are some... I need to use this recipe book a little bit more, because these all sound great. Let's see here. I'm going to skip over to mains, and I'll read some of these while we still have our additional 2 minutes to go on the timer. All right. So at the top of the mains, this is, of course, a dish that we featured a few times on Kozibear's Cooking in the past. We have all-dressed chip chops. We have bacon and tomato clams. We have beefy beef stew. We have cast iron pot pie. We have creamy bacon shroom pasta. Lots of shrooms, lots of cream. Very, very heavy dishes. We have spinach and artichoke stuffed shells. We have seafood squid ink pasta. I should probably try to make that at some point. I've never had that, and I'm really curious to see what it might taste like. We have spicy Cincinnati chili. I remember Cincinnati from the Christmas movie starring the girl from E.T. People in the chat will know what I'm talking about. We have Cincy chili dip. It's probably another Cincinnati-themed dish. We have crab stuffed tomatoes. We have one pan shrimp fajitas. We have pasta primavera, which just sounds an awful lot like a Pokemon that was introduced in Generation 7. We have peanut butter and jelly chicken. That I actually made in an earlier season of Kozibear's Cooking. I don't remember what season it was, but it was back when I was working in the kitchen upstairs, so it was probably season 2 or 3. I remember that tasting good, but it not being incredible, but I also think that might have just been attributable to the fact that I maybe was not as great of a chef at that time. We have salmon grain bowl with lemon tahini sauce. We have shepherd's pie pierogies. Those sound good. We have coconut curry red snapper. I think that's a big ol' red fish. We have whole chicken with crispy potatoes. We have fancy AF beef tenderloin, and we have hot honey pizza. I'm pretty sure, actually, I just remembered, I made the hot honey from the hot honey pizza recipe in the past, but I didn't make the pizza itself. The pizza, I relied on my own recipes for that. And here we go. We are arriving at our 10-minute timer, so we are going to go ahead and we are going to bust this thing open. And I am going to do my best to flip our fries around. Cooking real nicely, which I appreciate. All right. I'm actually very impressed with what we have going on here. We're gonna make some good fries for ourselves. That's for sure. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put this thing back in our air fryer, and we are going to, yeah, we'll set another timer for 10 minutes, even though it's keeping track of the time on the air fryer itself. You know what I'm realizing? I have this spoon over here that I can use when I want to eat the fries later on, but it would be good to have a fork. I don't have a fork on hand, so I'm gonna be right back and I'm gonna grab a fork. While I was upstairs grabbing my fork, I also got some cling wrap, which I'm going to use to wrap up some of the excess food on the table here that we didn't really use, such as the seasoned fries that weren't able to fit in the air fryer. Let's take care of that right now. There we go. I suspect, depending on how hungry everyone else is upstairs, I suspect that I will probably end up freezing these fries. And then later on, I'll defrost them on a later occasion. Actually, you know what? I just realized something. I still have 7 minutes to go. Something I can do to spend the time while we're waiting the additional 7 minutes is I can actually season the fries that are in this bowl, because the fries in this bowl never got seasoned. I'll season them right now, and I can save myself a little bit of time later on. Good thinking, Cozy. So we're going to put in 1 tablespoon of canola oil, 2 tablespoons of canola oil. The if you hear some beeping, that's the air fryer telling me to turn around the food. It asked me to turn around the food a little bit later into the cooking process, but it's okay. And there we go. We got our 4 tablespoons of canola oil in there. And next up, we're going to add a healthy amount of salt and pepper. There we go. And like last time, we are going to mix these up with our hands. And then we're probably going to need to give our hands a good rinsing because they'll be very, very oily afterwards. Just under 6 minutes to go. This one, mixing up the fries in this bowl is a little bit more difficult on account of the fact that it's a smaller bowl, so I don't have as much leg room to mix them up. We go. Let's bring in our sink camera so we can wash our hands. There we go. It seems like we have about 5 minutes to go. We're very, very, very quickly approaching the singularity here. Let's have a little water. Oh no. What? How did... Oh, because I opened up my water bottle earlier when I wanted to make the slurry. I was like, why is this spilling over a little bit? It's my bad. Okay. Before I forget, I want to just try a little bit of the bacon. Tastes good. I think it will make for a good topping on the poutine when the time comes. And I'll put this over here alongside the other bowl of fries. Actually, I can actually put the bowls over here, actually. Let me do that instead. There we go. Oh, let me just... I'm just going to bring the chowder over to the other side, just temporarily, just so I can stir it up a little bit. How nice and chunky and thick this thing is. Big ol' chunky boy. Actually, you know what? We have about 2 minutes left on the timer. I just realized something I meant to do earlier, but forgot about, is we should probably take out the 2 bay leaves that are in the chowder. So I'm going to do that now. So we only need the bay leaves for helping flavor it. We don't need them in there any longer than that. And there we go. We'll put that over back to the other side of the table. I gotta say, over time, I feel like I've done a good job on these streams of figuring out ways to, like, occupy myself during these sort of slow moments where not a lot is going on. Okay, now I realize that yeah, you can probably hear some beeping right now. That's because the timer on our air fryer is actually a little bit ahead of the timer on our computer. I will let the timer on our computer run its course, and then we'll take the fries out of here. Although the thing did technically stop, but whatever. We'll wait the additional 30 seconds, and then we'll take him out of the crib. This has been quite the stream. Here we go. We're going to count down together. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there we go. Let's go ahead and let's take these. I'm going to turn off the air fryer by unplugging it. And now I'm going to zoom in and we are going to take our fries out. Let's see how these bad boys look. Ooh, nice and crispy. Nice and crispy looking. These look very good. I'm actually very pleased with how these turned out. I thought they might not look great, but they actually look very nice. I'm actually very pleased. Let's see here. I need to move some more stuff around. I thought this table would be plenty big, but I am discovering day by day that it's not quite big enough for all the crazy, adventurous things that I do on these streams. So I'm going to take this bowl over here. I'm going to take our fries out. I am going to add a good amount to the bowl. Maybe all of them. We'll see how well they fit. Oh, fuck. I did not expect the basket to fall out on me like that. Let's see, how hot is this thing? It's pretty hot. Okay. Okay. There we go. Sorry that it doesn't fit perfectly. We'll put this back in the air fryer. Put these 2 fries that still remain on the desk over here. Look at how nice. These fries look so nice. I'm going to take a couple of photos, actually, while we still have the chance to do so. Go. Let me just move a couple of things out of the way. Okay, let's return to our recipe instructions. It's time at long last to assemble our poutine. We're going to place our fries in a bowl, which we just said. Then we're going to add a good handful of cheese curds on top of it. Then we're going to smother both our fries and curds with a healthy amount of clam chowder. We'll garnish the top of our poutine then with some crispy bacon and the green onions we put aside earlier, and taste test our clammy creation. Let's grab our cheese curds from the bag we opened a little bit earlier. try to evenly distribute them so you don't have too many cheese curds concentrated in one place. Just include a couple more here, there, everywhere. I think that's good. Okay. Next up, you know what? I should take a photo at every step in the process, actually. There we go. We got to bring our clam chowder back around. We use this hot plate. Let me move this in a little bit closer. And spoon some goodness on here. Look at that. Look at beauty in motion. Beauty in motion. Again, we will take photos at every step of the process. And now, last but not least, we'll garnish this with a bunch of the bacon bits from earlier. There we go. I think that's a good amount. And now finally, last but not least, the green onion, which has been waiting so patiently in this cup for the entirety of the stream. So patiently. Wow, the greenness at the end really does complete the dish. I don't think it would look nearly as good if it didn't have that little bit of green onion at the end. Just going to take a few more photos and then we will dig in. I am also letting it, I'm giving it ample time for it to properly cool down as well. It's part of the equation here as well. Very careful. There we go. Those are some good photos. I'll get some good content out of that. All right. With that taken care of, I'm going to switch to our big camera. I brought myself an extra fork to help eat this, but I think I'll probably end up needing to use my spoon. Also, I might as well actually move the timer out, just so we have as much view of me as possible for this final sequence. This is the good stuff right here. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I should have some of the clam chowder by itself, but I don't really have a good bowl to put that in. Whatever. I'll just enjoy it as is and trust that the clam chowder by itself is very delicious. Oh, I want to get a good grouping of fries, cheese curds, everything all at once, and I think this is a pretty good starting spoonful. It's hot, though. It's very hot. Okay, something I appreciate right off the bat, that is some legitimate clam chowder. That is a legitimately fishy tasting clam chowder. This is not your average poutine. This is a fishy poutine. And I know some people might not love that, but I appreciate the way in which it makes a difference. I'm going to get a bigger scoop of this stuff. Wow. I gotta hand it to Renee Paquette. It is a tasty dish, but it definitely doesn't taste exactly like what you might be anticipating. You know poutine, you're familiar with poutine, you probably expect that you're going in for ye old average poutine with maybe just a slightly chowdery twist, but this really doesn't taste exactly like how you expect it to, but it is still delicious. I'm just gonna have a little bit of water to deglaze my mouth. Let me go in for another spoonful. We cooked good today. We cooked good. Ooh la la, says Squirk. I mean, honestly, nothing else that can really be said about a dish like this. Ooh la la, indeed. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to tonight's stream. Remember that this is season 6 of Kozibear's Cooking, and that new episodes of it are currently streaming live on every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/CozyBearLive and youtube.com/@CozyBearLive from now until October 30th. You can also watch past VODs of both this season and all prior seasons of Kozibear's Cooking on both platforms, as well as clips of the season's best moments on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. You can find me at Alex Kazina on the latter two platforms. That's at ALEXKOZINA. And if you want to keep up with what I'm doing outside of my cooking streams, you can also find me on Twitter, which is also at ALEXKOZINA. That's at Alex Kazina. Thank you once again to everybody for tuning in tonight. We really cooked good. We made something truly delicious and unique. And with that, I bid you adieu. Go make some poutine of your own.